In the previous episode, Lloyd challenges Newman to a duel. Javier questions his confidence in winning, to which Lloyd responds by calling Newman a loser and questioning his intelligence. This confuses Javier. After securing contracts for the heating room and receiving permission to use the soldiers, Lloyd picks a fight with the knight, fully aware that he will lose. Javier is perplexed by Lloyd's motives. Lloyd then asks Javier to teach him how to use a sword, but Javier initially refuses, thinking that Lloyd will only cause more trouble. However, Lloyd offers to treat Javier's insomnia in exchange for the swordsmanship lessons. Javier is surprised that Lloyd knows about his condition, which he attributes to the Sword Master Syndrome from the novel. With nothing to lose, Javier accepts the deal. He was certain Lloyd wouldn't be able to get his insomnia under control. He tried everything, but nothing seemed to work. All of Javier's sword talents will now be his thanks to Lloyd's successful treatment of him. Javier had a baby's face in the morning. He slept remarkably well. He ordered Lloyd to do 50 laps. Lloyd made no complaints. That surprised me. Without any issues, Lloyd completed his first, second, and third laps. No matter what, he will keep moving forward. He'd be lying if he said he wasn't exhausted, but this is nothing in comparison to his previous life. He had no relatives to keep him warm. Every day, he carried bricks to the fourth floor and spent the entire night loading trucks with boxes, all with the purpose of providing for himself. He never stopped hoping that things might improve at some point. Remain patient. It will improve. In comparison to then, this suffering and hopelessness are nothing. Lloyd ran continuously throughout the day without complaining. Javier is left with no alternative but to instruct him in the use of a sword in the Baron's office. He and Newman were conversing. He believed that his son's rationality had returned. I must have misinterpreted him, I think. He warned Newman that although he cannot stop this duel, Lloyd is his successor and that he should not be treated harshly. Just get him to his senses again. Newman had the thinking while he was moving that he would kill this jerk regardless of what, and if the Baron tried to stop him, he would just kill him too before leaving this village and moving to a larger area. It appears that his strategy is proceeding more quickly than he anticipated, and he is grateful for that. Finally, the day has arrived after a month. To see this combat, everyone gathered together. When Newman asks him whether he's ready, he responds, "Of course. Be ready to take a beating." He was being made fun of by everyone for entering a sword duel with a shovel. He doesn't take it seriously, at all. To him, everything here is just a game. However, because Javier was always by his side, he is the only one who is aware of the truth. Every morning after finishing his basic training, he headed directly to the building site to instruct the other engineer about the heating chamber. He practiced using the sword alongside him during the night. The spirit of someone who is having fun is not what this is. The altercation began. Newman launched his assault, but Lloyd easily put an end to it. The second time he swung his sword at him, Lloyd was able to break up his attack. His movements were amazing. Lloyd didn't pick this shovel at random. He may cut with the shovel's blade and utilize it as a shield. On top of that, you can use it as a pogo stick. This is insane. When Newman lunges at him, Lloyd utilizes the shovel and his sword technique to halt all of his blows. Surely, this is a joke. How does this slimy bastard and drunken prophet grow so strong? Lloyd was utilizing the synchronized tool skill. He is able to unite with the shovel as a result. Newman is at his wit's end. He is left with no other option. All over his body, the mana was flowing towards his heart. Using the mana heart, now that Lloyd's life is about to end permanently, Newman is prepared. He made a full-speed rush at Lloyd before swinging his sword in Lloyd's direction. He will be able to crush his shovel with the help of Newman's strength before breaking Lloyd's skull. The end was near for Lloyd. He accepts the blow, but something is off. The full force of Newman was lost. He presented him with a fourth weapon, this one. The Asmahan core technique, a mana technique, is what made Xavier the strongest character in the book. Using this method, he was able to drain Newman of his mana. Now it's Lloyd's turn. He slammed the shovel into Newman's face so forcefully that one of his teeth flew out into the air. And before he can respond, Lloyd strikes him once more. And to put an end to the conflict, he raised his shovel into the air before hitting the ground and destroying Newman's back head. This is incredible. Nobody has a clue as to what just transpired. The battle was won by Lloyd. Newman endured humiliation. He was instructed by the man standing on top of him that since he had won the duel and you had fallen short, it was time for you to give him what was coming to him. While his father yelled for him to stop, Lloyd continued to beat him mercilessly. To prevent him from assaulting Newman, the soldier fled. Everyone believed he had gone insane. However, if you pay close attention to where he strikes him, you will see that he is hitting him in a certain location. It was as though he had anticipated this. Did he start out knowing everything? However, he earned his victory. He is still being yelled at by his father to stop degrading the knight. After pausing briefly, Lloyd asks his father to peek under the tablecloth to determine whether it actually merits any respect at all. His father discovered some letters, which surprised him when he read them. It contained details pertaining to him and his royal family. How he managed to find this letter startled Newman. His father won't discipline him. To achieve it, he has a good heart. A giant hamster might be thrown at him, followed by his permanent exile. Or we could just downgrade him to the rank of normal soldier, Lloyd told his father. Because of his father's good nature, he chose to lower his status in order to offer him a second chance to atone for what he had done. Newman gives him praise for his kindness. Lloyd is fully aware that a person of this nature will never leave him and his father by themselves. No matter what, he will exact his vengeance. However, Lloyd claimed that this was his final smile. The meaning of that was unclear to Newman. The red seed is then given to Lloyd's hamster, who immediately launches it into the air. The greatest way to seek for forgiveness is to do nothing, Lloyd remarked to Newman after casting him a hateful and disgusted glance. The hamster grows enormous after consuming the seed. Out of disbelief, everyone opens their mouths. This is impossible. Newman let her one final scream before crashing to the ground. Finally, Lloyd found a permanent solution to the rat issue. Early that morning, Lloyd made the decision to construct a road à la Rome. They will be able to enjoy many local attractions as a result. Javier questions him out of the blue how he is able to summon such a powerful level of magic, and where he learned all this information that they had never heard of before. Is this young master truly him? From the beginning, Lloyd was aware that his suspicion would eventually surface. Before Javier does anything to him, he must act immediately. This issue can only be resolved in one method. Lloyd employs his unique talent for perseverance. Javier and Lloyd had a protracted argument before Lloyd finally persuaded Javier that he was just like him and left. While he was away, Lloyd instructed Brian to take care of the arrangement. He has somewhere to go with Javier. It's time for them to exact justice. The real estate con artist Thords was hiding at a tavern in a little hamlet called Rodinia Estate. Lloyd caused him to lose a lot of money, yet he is still avoiding both Lloyd and the people from whom he stole their money. However, Lloyd burst through the door. His name is Lloyd Frontra, and as he entered the room, he informed the man that he must know exactly why he was there at this very moment. Thords was in a panic. They jumped through the windows because they had to flee. Javier was ready for them with his blade drawn just before they touched down. He warned them that if they didn't give up, they would be in trouble. Everything went as Lloyd had anticipated. He had to wait in the alley because they would leap out the window. The soldier of Thords is a magician. He employs black magic. Javier will be facing one of them for the first time. The soldier uses magic to attack Javier, but he defeats it with his sword. However, the magician manipulates him with gravity magic. Javier's body was crushed by gravity, but little did he know that Xavier had a mana heart with 3 circles instead. He effortlessly cut through the enchantment. The magician begins to perspire in his face. He then continues running, leaving Thords alone. Javier then confronts him and inquires as to whether he is aware of the penalty for defrauding a nobleman. He'll have to crawl to the court since he'll have his legs amputated. However, Lloyd intervened and stopped him. He warned him that he would also receive punishment if he did that. What he said surprised Javier. Does Lloyd now genuinely feel compassion for someone else? They capture him, tie him to a chair, and begin conversing. Thords pleaded with them to pardon him. Anything he can to get back at them. He was instructed by Lloyd that the only requirement for his forgiveness is that he sign this straightforward contract. But when Thords inquired as to the nature of this arrangement, Lloyd replied, "It's just a job contract. He will even pay him, but only after 520 years, and only after 80% of his salary has been deducted as restitution." As expected, Thord is shocked to the point where he feels like his soul is leaving his body. He can't believe he missed it. He knows he can't kill or take legal action against Lloyd, so he'll have to endure being taken advantage of until he's bled dry. Although Thords believes the contract makes no sense, he has no choice but to sign it himself or face coercion. His life is now in Lloyd's hands, and a few days later, Lloyd puts out a notice for employee recruitment. To his surprise, many people apply for the job. One of the citizens thanks Lloyd for building a heating room that has helped his child avoid getting cold in winter. Lloyd feels ashamed after hearing this, as all he wants to do is exploit poor citizens. The citizens inform him of his siblings in the nearby Rakona estate and ask if he can construct a heating room there. Lloyd sees this as an opportunity to charge them double the cost of building the room. He remains the same scumbag he always was. Lloyd talks to Javier and explains that they will eventually need more resources than just the tree. To earn more money, they plan to dig up bituminous coal and sell it at a high price. Although Lloyd asks Javier if he thinks he's being unfair and mean, he's only doing it to pay off their estate's debt. Javier understands Lloyd's motive but tells him that many barons have tried and failed to dig up bituminous coal due to cave collapses caused by weak ground. However, with modern excavation technology, Lloyd believes he can do it easily. There is a lot of preparation to be done. Lloyd has changed a lot from his past ways. However, there is still a threat in the cave, as giant ants with red eyes await their next meal. If you want to see part 3, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss it.